And we're back in the studio. I've got Crystal Birns. I'm your host, Nada Milkovich, and you're listening to KZSC's Artist on Art. I just had a great talk with Matthew Swinnerton, who's going to be doing the event Santa Cruz, a new event, speaker monthly, and super cool, September 18th. And then Crystal is doing something similar with something that is really fun to say. She's doing a PechaKucha.
Well said.
PechaKucha night. And y'all are wondering, what the heck is a PechaKucha? Well, we're going to tell you in just a few minutes. But right now, I want to welcome Crystal Birns. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Crystal Birns has been doing some amazing work here in Santa Cruz as the Santa Cruz City Arts Director.
Program Manager.
Oh, the Santa Cruz City Arts Program Manager.
Yes.
Those titles are very important.
I'll take director, but it's not actually my title.
And I think you came on the first time on Artist on Art when you had just started working.
I think so. It was just after Ann Tierman did a mural, right? Does that sound right?
That's right. Our wonderful muralist, Ann Tierman, had just done a mural downtown, or she was refixing the mural.
The People's Bank mural. Actually, it was a new mural.
It was.
And, I think she was right in the middle of it when we came on together.
Yeah.
It was during a 3-year flush of doing 10 murals in 3 years. So there was a lot of mural activity around that time.
Yeah. And then along with the murals, there's also been a lot of activity of beautifying our electrical covers.
Yes, the graphic traffic boxes, as we call them, and that is all local artists that apply and get to showcase their art on traffic signal cabinets around town. And as you probably have noticed, that has expanded countywide at this point.
It is the best thing. I love it, love it, love it.
I'm so glad.
Oh my gosh,
I love it too.
Constantly at a stop sign looking over, and then joy, I see the most beautiful little piece of art.
I'm so glad.
On what would normally be a dark gray, green box.
It's a really cool program, and it's rotating. So over time, people come into town and people leave town, and new artists come in, and so it's a nice way to just kind of have little punctuation points around town that showcase local art.
Oh, yeah. Like the one where it's the perspective of the banana snail right up here at
That
UCSC.
was actually a student project. Yeah, that was through D. Hibbert Jones's public art class on campus.
So, Crystal Birns, tell us, I want to paint one of those traffic boxes. How do I do it?
So they're painted and vinyl. So we do them two different ways. One is painting and one is vinyl. So if you're a photographer and you want to apply, then vinyl is probably a better fabrication method. But we do them every few years. I think it's been since about 2011 since we've done new ones. And it's really just a budgeting thing. But when we do new boxes, basically we put out a call for artists, and you apply with your work that you've done before and your concept, and then we have a selection panel, and we actually our last graphic traffic box selection panel even included an 11-year-old, so we try to shake it up a little bit. She was great.
Yay!
And
hear it for the voices of the
she
youngsters.
was fabulous. And so we don't currently have anything planned, although we might be doing a few boxes next year. So it doesn't happen as often as we'd like, but
so you just go to the City of Santa Cruz website? Is that the best place?
Actually, the best way to do it is to sign up for our artist list, and you can do that by emailing me at cbirns@cityofsantacruz.com, or you can go to the City of Santa Cruz website and scroll through to economic development and then to the arts page. Or you can go to Facebook, and there's a City Arts, Santa Cruz City Arts Facebook page that also might be easier for some people.
Excellent, excellent. All right, PechaKucha time.
Okay, so actually I have to do the disclaimer that I'm doing PechaKucha as a volunteer, not in my formal city job.
Yes.
And it's something that had been kind of brainstormed for a while that actually Chip, who has no last name, is responsible for bringing to town last November. It's
Chip.
Just Chip, yes. It's a presentation format, and the name is Japanese, and it means chit-chat. And so it's a format that was started a decade ago by an architectural firm that felt that perhaps architects would do great in a shortened and concise format. And so they set up this format of 20 images, 20 seconds each. So each person talks for 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And so it's informal, it's creative, it's fast-paced, and it's kind of evolved from just being architects to 600 cities around the world now are part of PechaKucha. And in Santa Cruz, we've really taken it as an opportunity to have different people who wouldn't otherwise bump into each other kind of all talk about things they're working on in one room together. And one thing that I love about it is that the PechaKucha format allows people to talk about, you know, something that may not be their professional life, but maybe something they're working on at home. We have one presenter, Peter Chester, who's going to be talking at this next event, who is an incredible designer and CTO of a really successful digital agency, but he's going to be talking about weekly conversations with his dad, who's a quantum physicist. And so it's a nice format for kind of more personal, a more personal view of what people are interested in, you know, either in their work time or in their off time.
And so PechaKucha, again, folks, is 20 images for 20 seconds each, meaning you get 6 minutes and 40 seconds to present an idea or a story.
Or a project.
And
sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
please.
The most creative one we had at the last PechaKucha night was we had two improving, I believe they were 13-year-olds who had not yet seen the slides, and they improved off the slides. So the format really allows for creativity, and it was a great presentation. So
the art of concise presentations, folks. PechaKucha, the 5th PechaKucha. This has all been happening. It's been going on, folks. It's like I'm feeling a little late to the train, but it's September 13th. That's next Friday, September 13th, from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. It's free, and it's at the Santa Cruz Museum of Art and History. I don't know, how much better can it get? Well, let's talk about who's going to be presenting at the next one.
Okay, so our lineup includes MC Greg Pepping, who is the executive director of the Coastal Watershed Council, and he actually was a presenter at the Geek Night, PechaKucha Night in February, and so he, I think, is going to be a fabulous MC. And a few of our other presenters, we have 9 presenters total. We have Bryant Austin, who is, you may have seen those full-size whale photographs around. He works globally now, but he started in Santa Cruz. And the theme for the next PechaKucha is found in Santa Cruz. And so he's one of our presenters. And he'll be talking about his whale photography. And so we'll probably get to see some great underwater in-progress images. We also have Susie O'Hara, who is the staff to the City Public Safety Task Force. And she'll be talking about sort of how she got from there to here. We have Kyle Tierman, who's a professional surfer and has started a project called Surfing for Change. We have Kyle Abbott, 2 Kyles. Kyle Abbott is a musician. You may have seen the Abbott brothers playing bluegrass around town. Interestingly, I believe his grandfather also is who Abbott Square is named after. And he's going to be talking about the shamisen, which is a Japanese instrument that he is playing and has started a whole global collaboration around. Jeff Dunn, who's an author and documentary filmmaker, is going to be talking about his work and photography. We have. Should I keep going, or is that?
Well,
is that enough?
there's only 2 left. And
there's a few more. Yes.
Yeah, we already talked about Peter Chester, who's going to be talking about his conversations with his dad.
Yes.
What did you say? He's some astrophysicist.
Quantum physicist.
Quantum physicist.
Yes.
Not to be confused.
We have Veronica Yovovich. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She is a PhD student here in environmental science, and she works with Santa Cruz Pumas, which I'm very excited to hear about.
Definitely. And then last but not least,
we have Wes Modes, Modes, who
That's
actually we
right.
have two more. Wes Modes, who is a upcoming Danum student and has been a systems architect at UCSC and has also done a lot of DIY stuff around town.
Well, he started Free School.
He did,
and
yes.
Gorilla Drive-In and the
a
Anarchist
whole bunch of
Cafe.
projects, yeah. And the
I love
parade,
Wes.
is it called the Last Night Parade?
I don't know.
Yeah, the parade right before New Year's. Yeah, so Wes has a bunch of projects, and then we also have Victoria Posas Bernal, who's a
yes.
former Food What program participant, and she now works with the Student Farm Worker Alliance. She's going to be talking about food.
Right on. And so, again, PechaKucha nights are free. There will be drinks available for purchasing. The seating is limited, so early birds get the seat. Otherwise, you got to stand.
Yes. And actually, the last time we did an event at the museum, which was in February, people were turned away. So I would recommend showing up early. The nice thing about showing up early is that we have the Gamelan Anak Saraswanti, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, is going to be our musical guest. So they'll be playing, I think, show up at 6:15 and you'll get to hear some gamelan and you'll get a seat.
All right, so folks, you want to know how to say PechaKucha and where to find more information? PechaKucha is PechaKucha. So you go to pechakucha.org/cities/Santa Cruz, and you'll find PechaKucha Santa Cruz there. You can also go to Facebook, facebook.com/PechaKucha Santa Cruz. You've got SantaCruzNext.org, where you can get more information, which I'd like.
Santa Cruz Next is the event sponsor, so thank you, Santa Cruz Next.
That's right. And you're a big part of Santa Cruz Next, aren't you,
I
Krista?
used to be on the board, and I have not been involved for a few years.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were more recent than that.
No.
But that's cool. Great organization. I
Yes.
think Matthew and I also stumbled upon Santa Cruz Next. Great place to find out what's happening, SantaCruzNext.org. You can also find more information at Santa Cruz MA, our most wonderful museum that
Yes.
has just blossomed in the last couple years. This is the fifth one.
This is the fifth one.
PechaKucha.
Yeah.
So were 4 of them done last year? When was the first one?
So the first one was last November, so it's been less than a year. And actually, we signed an agreement with the official PechaKucha people in Tokyo, and the agreement includes promising that we're not going to make money off of it. So part of it is that you either have to have a day job or have, it's a gift to the community. And then the second part of the agreement is that you will put on at least 4 a year. And then there's a couple other clauses too, but so we have put on 5 this year, so I think we're doing pretty well.
Now,
and
not all of them have been at the MA, though.
No. Actually, the tradition is to hold them at bars, and so
Even better.
So I think the first one was at Motive, and the second one was at the MA, and then the third one was at Pono.
Oh, that's a great
The fourth one was at the Tannery at the ICA, and then the MA has just been so nice about wanting to host that we're doing it at the MA again. But we're definitely interested in, keeping the vibe, informal. And I think, it comes out of a bar tradition. So it's, we will continue to rotate locations.
And so you've had, let's see, how many do you get each time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
We have 9 speakers.
You have 9 speakers.
And musicians.
And so you've had 9 pretty much every time?
8 or 9, yeah.
So you have 45 people?
Gosh, good math, yes.
This next one will come up. You'll have 45 people. Can we see the past ones? I thought I saw some archive of it, or is it just somebody
yeah, you
in the
should
audience?
be able to see. I have to confess that we're not as coordinated with our online presence as we could be, since we're both volunteering and have full-time jobs. But we do have past events on the Facebook page that show our past speakers. The speakers who sign up for the PechaKucha site are shown on the PechaKucha site, but it's not consistent because not everyone signs up. And then Yeah, so I guess that's the only two options in terms of seeing all the past speakers. But I'm glad that you brought that up, because I will think about how to better showcase everyone who spoke.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because there have been people, I remember Ted Holiday, somebody filmed
Ted Holiday was the first one,
So you got to see his presentation.
Yeah, and actually we've been trying to figure out how to successfully, I know there's probably someone listening who thinks this is the easiest thing in the world, but we haven't yet figured out how to successfully capture the audio during the presentations without capturing the film. And so that's on the list of to-dos, is to figure out how to do that well, because if we can do that well, then we can put up all the presentations.
Right, because all you need is the audio.
But we don't need the video, because the video is just a little too dense, so we do have some video, but we haven't put it up yet, because it would be ideal to just have audio and then the images.
And then the images for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Crystal Birns, what did you hear about PechaKucha and said, oh my gosh, I want to do that?
I did, yeah. I mean, I think I've always been, so I went to art school and loved the critique process, which was less a critique process and more sort of everyone going around the room and talking about what they're working on. And I think just as an adult, I've really felt like, when do we get to hear about people's side projects? You get to hear about their sort of formal presence, and then, personal lives. But there's this whole sort of realm of side projects that rarely gets talked about in kind of a public format. And I always have side projects, so I'm always curious what other people are working on. And so when I first heard about PechaKucha, that was, I think, what excited me was, the idea of getting kind of people who aren't in my social circle in a room together and kind of finding out what it is that they're doing in their spare time. Or if they're, want to talk about their job, that's great too. But just to get a more personal take on what people are interested in. And so actually I was brainstorming with a few of the staff at the museum about bringing PechaKucha and someone from UCSC, and right at that point, Chip and I started talking, and we've collaborated on projects for a long time, and he said that he was bringing PechaKucha to town. So it was just a nice synchronicity, and here we are, almost a year later.
So, Crystal Birns, what if I want to give a PechaKucha? How do I?
So there's actually, you could either email one of us, or there's actually a more formal way to request, which is that on the PechaKucha.org website, there's a input for requesting, or for proposing a talk, and if anyone's interested in doing that, please do that. And especially, it's nice to see your website or kind of get a little bit of additional information other than just the talk topic, just more information about who you are and where you come from, because we try really hard to curate the speakers so that we have kind of a nice combination of people, and so the more we know about people, the more we can kind of try to do that well.
So are you then working on the next PechaKucha as you're working on this?
I'm not. I think that Chip is probably going to take the lead on the next one, and we're looking at dates right now, and so it'll probably be in November, but we don't have a date yet.
Okay, but we want to make sure everybody comes out for next Friday, not this Friday, which happens to be the best day in Santa Cruz. That's right, the first Friday art tour is happening this Friday, and I hope you all come out, especially out to Art Loft, and see Karen Toole's newest fabulous curated exhibition. But the next Friday,
which happens to be Friday the 13th,
which is even better, at 6:30 p.m. at the Santa Cruz Museum of Art and History, 705 Front Street, you get to see the PechaKucha. It's a wild and very fast number 9 presentations that are going to be happening. If you come early, you get to hear some gamelan. You also get to make sure you have a seat, because as Crystal was saying, the last one was so popular, people were turned away when they came a little late. And then also there'll be drinks for purchase at the Ma.
And I believe because our theme, Found in Santa Cruz, is coinciding with the exhibit theme this month, which is Santa Cruz is in the Heart. I think they're going to open up the galleries too for those who want to add a little gallery tour into the evening.
Nice, nice. So that's a night of presentations, and this is looking at the art of concise presentations, and there's a great lineup of presenters that's happening, again, September 13th at 6:30. It's a free event. So if you want to sign up for a PechaKucha, if you want to get involved, you want to talk about your amateur or your hobby work, you can, again, email Crystal, and that's CBIRNS at Santa Cruz County.
Actually, the best place to email me for this is CBIRNS at gmail.com. CBIRNS at gmail.com. And you can talk to Crystal about PechaKucha. You can also go to PechaKucha.org, and you want to go to the you can sort by cities, yes. You can actually look for Santa Cruz once you go to the main page. And so you would go to PechaKucha.org/cities/Santa Cruz CA. And then there is where you can sign up and submit an idea for your PechaKucha if you're really interested in doing a 6-minute and 40-second presentation. It's a great thing. And again, this is the 5th one that's happening. Crystal, what else have you been up to? You're doing the Santa Cruz City Arts project management. Is there anything on the horizon that's... well, we have this kind of wacky project that is underway that is an attempt to network event data so that
that would be fabulous.
So that when you post your events, you don't have to post in 10 places, you just have to post in one place. So it's a little bit of an idealistic project, but that's kind of the big thing on the radar this year is seeing if we can do that, which, if it works, will be really exciting because it'll save everyone who makes events a lot of time.
Right, so this is like a community calendar.
It's not going to be a community calendar. It's going to be more like the wiring behind community calendars. So it's not a competing calendar. It's something that allows you to post wherever you post, and then we'll network that information out to all the community calendars.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's actually like aggregating the data behind the scenes and then allowing the Weekly or the Good Times or KZSC or whoever, or an individual blogger to capture whatever data they want to use. So it's an attempt to free up the event data and allow it to be distributed and curated.
Well, Crystal Birns, I am really excited to hear about this because this is something we've been needing and talking about and trying to figure out. The technology is there, but how do we put it together without it costing $10 million?
Yes, that is the question.
It's almost like sometimes you have to just wait, and then it becomes less expensive, your idea.
Right.
But we need this. Aggregation is the future of computer work, I believe, the more...
I'm optimistic, and I hope to be able to come back and tell you about how successful it's been.
Right on.
give us a year.
So we've got possibly more of the traffic box art happening
we actually
next year.
We have a mural in Beach Flats happening right now. We have
who's doing the mural in Beach Flats?
We're actually going through the design process, and we have a bunch of different artists proposing. So we haven't selected the proposal yet, but it's exciting because it's right surrounding a preschool, so it's going to be kind of a kid-friendly mural, and then. We have
lots of good stuff happening here at Santa Cruz City. We're so lucky.
Thanks. I feel pretty lucky too.
And again, folks, this Friday is the monthly First Friday Santa Cruz Art Tour. Happening next Friday, September 13th, is the PechaKucha, the 5th volume of PechaKucha Santa Cruz. Again, that's at 6:30 p.m. at the MAW. I suggest you come early so that you can get your seat and party on with some gamelan. And you'll get to see 9 different presenters that are all super awesome. If you missed any part of this, you can go to PechaKucha.org Santa Cruz. You can go to Facebook.com, PechaKucha Santa Cruz. You can go to Santa Cruz MAW and get the list of presenters and make sure you get there. And soon, hopefully, we'll be able to maybe access some of the past speakers because there's so many. already in
There are.
such a quick time.
Yeah.
To get, I mean, it's such a expression. It's the emerging of our community.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Crystal Birns, it's been really great talking with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm so glad to have you back on, and just to celebrate all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And that our Santa Cruz city is really devoted to arts in our community and beautifying our place, our
Our beautiful place.
our beautiful place. Yes.